Hi, my name's Rian. A few months ago, I got a call no daughter should ever hear. My parents whispering through the phone at midnight, terrified, say my brother had locked them in the basement. I thought it was confusion, dementia maybe, but it wasn't. It was a plan, cold, deliberate, and years in the making. Family is supposed to mean safety, love, loyalty. But what if the people who raise you became your captors? That night started with my phone buzzing on the nightstand. 12:11 a.m. I almost ignored it until I saw the caller ID, Mom and Dad. I answered. Instead of sleepy voices, I heard panic. Rhiannon, honey, please, we're so hungry. He locked us down here. Then my father's faint voice in the background. Your brother, Jarth, please hurry. The line went dead. I sat frozen, my hands shaking. No answer when I called back. My mind tried to reason, dementia, confusion, but my gut whispered no. I hadn't been home in 6 months, not since Jarth and I fought about guardianship. He insisted on taking control. I told myself it was fine. Now guilt wrapped around me like chains. Within minutes, I was in my car, flying down the empty highway from Phoenix to Flagstaff. Every mile felt like a question I didn't want answered. Childhood memories mixed with the echo of Jarth's voice. Calm, charming, controlling. Always in control. When I reached the house, it looked the same. Quiet. Too quiet. The porch light was off. No sound. I knocked, nothing. Then footsteps. The door opened. Jarth. Calm, neat, coffee in hand. Rian, he said softly. What are you doing here? I got a call from Mom. She said you locked them in the basement. He frowned like I'd insulted him. Locked them? Jesus, they're asleep. Mom's been worse lately, making up stories. It's sad. Stories. I repeated. She sounded terrified. He sighed. You always overreact. You think you know better just because you moved to Phoenix. My chest tightened. Let me see them. They're sleeping, he said sharply. You'll just upset them. Go get a motel. His tone was too firm, too final. Something snapped in me, but I forced a smile. You're right. I'll come back in the morning. He relaxed. Good. Sleep it off. I walked away but didn't leave. Instead, I circled to the side of the house. That's when I saw it. A new deadbolt on the basement door, and a small black security camera above it. We'd never had cameras. My heart pounded. I crouched near the basement window, using my phone light carefully. Inside, darkness. Then a flicker of movement. I froze, whispering, Mom. For a long second, nothing. Then soft tapping. Then came a faint, trembling voice. Reed, is that you? My breath caught. Mom. I froze, terrified to speak, afraid of what I might hear next. The house above me creaked. Jarth was still awake. I crouched lower by the garden bed, pushing away ivy and leaves until I found a narrow, rusted vent near the foundation. Mom, where are you? I whispered. Her weak, uneven gasps came through the vent. Down here, please. He doesn't feed us. For a moment, the night stopped breathing. My heart thundered in my chest as I stared at the dark window, refusing to believe it, but knowing it was true. I scanned the yard. The kitchen light glowed faintly, Jarth's silhouette pacing inside. I backed away, quietly, retracing my steps toward the old garden shed. It smelled of mildew and rust, untouched for years. I searched the dusty toolbox my dad used to keep near the grill. Beneath corroded nails and fishing line, I found it, the brass basement key. Cold, tarnished but real. I waited until the lights inside dimmed, until the muffled sound of a TV faded. 1:43 a.m. The basement door had changed. New deadbolt, fresh scratches, a heavy padlock drilled into the frame. I slid the key in. It jammed. Again. Still jammed. My breath came in bursts. Finally, I threw my shoulder against the door. Once. Twice. A loud crack. The latch snapped. The door creaked open, and the smell hit me. Oat. Sweat. Mold. I raised my phone light. The basement looked like a graveyard of our childhood. Broken lamps, storage bins, old Christmas boxes stacked against the walls. In the center, a thin mattress surrounded by crumpled blankets and taped windows. And on that mattress, my parents. My mother's once golden hair hung in clumps, her face pale and hollow. My father's skin was gray, his body frail. "Mom," my voice broke. She looked up, eyes wide, trembling. "Oh, baby, I thought you forgot us." "I didn't," I whispered, dropping to my knees. "What happened?" "He said it's safer here," she rasped. "He said we wander. Said the stairs were broken." I turned to see the half-empty jug of water, the spoiled food, the stench of neglect. This wasn't safety. It was imprisonment. I hit record on my phone, capturing everything. Their faces, the room, the silence. "Don't let him hear you," Mom whispered. "He gets angry when we talk too much." "I'm taking you out," I said. "Now." Then, footsteps. A sharp voice. "What the hell are you doing down here?" "Jarth." His figure filled the stairwell, face red, eyes hard. "You ever think before you act? You're trespassing." "They called me," I said, "from the vent." "You locked them in." He laughed coldly. "Lock them in? You sound insane. They have dementia. This is for their safety." I pointed at the rotting mattress. "Safe? They're starving." He sighed, smug. "You wouldn't understand. You left. I stayed. I feed them, clean them. You just show up to play hero." Dad tried to speak. "Son, don't." "Don't what?" Jared snapped. "She's always been like this. Drama queen." "That was a seizure, not drama," I shot back. He stepped closer. "You moved away because you couldn't handle it. You don't get to question me." "I'm taking them out of here," I said. "No, you're not," he growled. I stare him down. "Phoenix." I walked past him, up the stairs and out the door, hands trembling, heartbreaking. In the car, I opened my phone and watched the video. Every word, every insult, every desperate whisper. Then I uploaded it, encrypted, titled, "In case something happens to me." I didn't leave. I sat there all night, watching the house through the windshield. Jarth paced the living room like a caged animal. He knew I wasn't gone for good, and he was right. When the sun broke over the hills, I whispered to myself, "You won't get away with this." Then I drove, not to run, but to fight. My mind was still racing from the night before. Each memory looped louder, sharper. I parked carefully. Old habits die hard when silence once meant survival. Never too close. Never draw attention. At Clara's door, my heart thudded. She stood there in her robe, eyes shadowed, but suddenly alert when she saw me. "Rhiannon," she murmured, "you look awful." "I need to talk," I said, voice trembling. "Of course, come in." The kitchen smelled of burnt toast and stale coffee. I sat, wooden chair creaking under me. Clara cupped a chipped mug, her hands trembling. "I saw you leave last night," she whispered. "Something's been wrong for a while." I didn't want to interfere, but I heard them. Your brother yelling at your mother, forcing her to sign something she didn't understand. She was crying afterward. My breath caught, so I hadn't imagined it. "She used to get up at night," Clara continued. "Said she lost her keys or couldn't sleep, but sometimes she muttered about the bank, about signing things she didn't trust." I remembered it too. Mom in her robe, staring at nothing. Once she'd whispered she regretted signing something. I told myself she was just tired. Clara stood, disappearing down the hall. When she returned, she held a yellowed envelope. She gave me these letters. Maybe she wanted someone to know. My fingers shook as I opened it. 3 pages, written in my mother's soft, slanted hand. One line stood out. "They say it's routine, but nothing about this feels right." I missed the days I could say no. My throat tightened. She had tried to speak, and we hadn't listened. "I'm going back," I said. "Tonight." Clara's eyes widened. "Be careful. Don't let him see you." That evening, I waited until Jarth left the grocery store, then drove the long way home. The house was quiet, too quiet. I slipped in through the back, floorboards groaning under each step. The air grew colder as I descended into the basement. The smell of mildew thick, almost alive. Then I saw it. A wooden chest I'd walked past 100 times. This time, I noticed everything. Kneeling, I picked the old lock until it clicked open. Inside, under dusty jewelry, was a sealed envelope and a folded document on heavy paper. It was a will, dated 18 months ago. My name was on it beside Jarth and Merrick, but this wasn't the version he'd filed. That one was sharp, mechanical. This one was softer, my mother's true handwriting, hesitant but real. My pulse raced. I snapped photos, encrypted them, and sent them to Leah, my lawyer friend in Phoenix. Always in threes, she used to say. App scan. High-res photo. Backup link. The basement felt heavier, like the house itself was listening. I pressed my hand against the cold wall and whispered, "They buried the truth down here." Then my phone vibrated. A message from Leah. "We need to talk. That signature might not be your mother's. Not her signature, or not only hers." My stomach dropped. I had everything back in place and crept upstairs. Through the curtains, I saw Jarth pacing outside, phone in hand, gesturing sharply, always watching. I slipped out the back, careful not to make a sound. At the end of the driveway, I spotted Merrick. He was whispering on the phone, voice strained. "Yeah, she found something, the will. I told you this would happen." I froze. When he hung up, I stepped forward. "You want to tell me what that was about?" He jumped, guilt flashing across his face. "Rhiannon, you scared me. I heard everything. You knew." He stammered. "Jarth said you'd blow things out of proportion. He told me to stay out of it. Said he'd handle it. By cutting me out." I asked coldly. Merrick looked away. "He promised me a share if I didn't interfere. Less fighting, fewer lawyers." "So, you took the bribe?" I whispered. He flinched. I didn't know he'd actually hurt them. I thought Mom was confused. "You thought?" I snapped. "You saw what he did. You looked away." He lowered his head. I didn't know what to do. "You could have called me," I said. "I'm sorry." I exhaled slowly. "No more hiding. Tonight we end this. Family meeting. Everyone. Clara's coming too." "Clara," he frowned. "She's the only one who isn't afraid of him." By nightfall, the house felt like a storm waiting to break. The dining room table, once filled with birthday candles and laughter, now sat under a single buzzing bulb. Mom and Dad sat together, fragile but alert. Merrick was silent. Clara waited by the window, notebook open. Jarth stood at the head of the table, arms crossed, smirking. "So what's this?" he asked. "Another intervention?" "Sit down," I said. He did, eyes flicking toward Merrick, a silent threat. Mom's hands trembled on her lap. "We're ready to speak," she whispered. Jarth's smile sharpened. "Of course, Mom. You've been under a lot of stress." I slammed the will onto the table. "Then let's relieve it." The paper spread like a wound between us. Ink, signatures, and truth too heavy to ignore. "Stop pretending," I said quietly. "We all know what you've done." Jarth looked at me with mock confusion. "I have no idea what you're talking about." "Then explain this." I unfolded the will, my hands trembling. 18 months ago, Mom and Dad signed this, the real version. You replaced it with a forged one that cut me out completely. He leaned forward, studying the papers. "Forgery? That's a serious accusation, Rhiannon. Be careful what you say." Clara's voice sliced through the air. "I was there that day. I saw Lorraine crying. You forced her to sign something she didn't want to." Jarth turned on her, eyes cold. "You've always hated me. Stay out of things that don't concern you." "They concern me when I hear a woman sobbing through my fence," Clara snapped. Merrick's face was slick with sweat. "Jarth, just stop. She's telling the truth." "Oh, please," Jarth scoffed. "You're siding with her now? The one who only shows up when there's money involved." "This isn't about money," I said. "It's about them." I gestured toward our parents. Dad's eyes glistened. "Son," he whispered, "tell the truth." Something cracked in Jarth's expression, then hardened again. "The truth? Fine. I did what needed to be done. You were all losing your minds. You would have signed the house away to scammers. I protected what's ours." "Yours," I said softly. "You protected what's yours." Merrick slammed his hand on the table. "You lied to all of us. You said you were helping them, but I heard you on the phone, planning to cut her out." Jarth froze, color draining from his face. "You don't know what you're talking about," he muttered. "I know exactly what I heard," Merrick said. "You said she won't see a dime." Mom gasped, clutching her chest. She slumped forward, her body folding into my arms. "Mom!" I screamed. "Somebody call 911. Dad's hand shook so badly he could barely dial. Jarth just stood there, pale and silent, as paramedics rushed in, their radios crackling. I followed the stretcher, gripping Mom's cold hand as they wheeled her away. Everything, our family, our lives, was collapsing, but I wasn't done. Not yet. The hospital lights were harsh, unrelenting. I sat beside her bed for hours, tracing the veins on her wrist, whispering promises she couldn't hear. Dad sat quietly, eyes fixed on the floor. "He's still our son," he said softly. I turned to him, disbelief flooding me. After everything he's done? Dad didn't look up. "He's lost. Maybe we failed him somehow." "No," I said. "You didn't fail him. He chose this." Before I could say more, the door opened. Jarth stepped in, clean-shaven, calm, a lawyer trailing behind him. "Good evening," he said smoothly. "I'm glad Mom is safe." "What are you doing here?" I demanded. He didn't answer. The lawyer opened a folder, holding it like scripture. "This," Jarth said, "is the updated will. Signed, notarized, and legally binding. As of 3 months ago, I'm sole executor and caretaker." My throat went dry. "You forge another one?" The lawyer spoke before Jarth could. "Ms. Rhodes, this document supersedes all previous versions. It's been filed with the state registrar." "That's impossible," I shouted. "I saw the real one. Mom signed it herself." Jarth smirked. "You saw what you wanted to see." He handed printed copies to the nurses outside. "Just in case she tries to claim power of attorney," he said lightly. "Everything's handled." Whispers spread down the hall. I felt the humiliation like a burn. The crazy daughter fighting over money. "You're disgusting," I hissed. He smiled faintly. "I am feral." For a moment, the world blurred. The smell of antiseptic, the flickering lights, the faint shuffle of papers. I remembered being 10, holding my science fair ribbon, hearing Mom proudly tell everyone how Jarth had built the project. I laughed it off then, but it had mattered. It always had. "Why do you hate me so much?" I asked softly. For the first time, something flickered in his eyes. He took a slow breath, mask slipping. "Because it was always you," he said. "The golden child. The favorite. You fail, and they still love you. I do everything. Pay bills, fix the house. And I get nothing. No pride. No love." I just stared. His voice rose, breaking. "You have no idea what it's like to be invisible in your own home. To watch them light up every time you walk in." I was the one who stayed, and it was never enough. Mom stirred weakly in bed. "Jareth," she whispered, "please stop." But he didn't. "You think I wanted to lock them down there?" he shouted. "Someone had to protect them. From you, from themselves." "Protect?" I snapped. "You starved them. You made them prisoners." He pointed at me, voice shaking. "They would have lost everything. I did what needed to be done." No one spoke. Even a nurse at the door froze. Dad's eyes filled with silent tears. My fingers slipped into my coat pocket, phone already recording. His voice, his confession, filled the sterile air. "You're not going to win this," I said quietly. "Not this time." He exhaled a bitter laugh. "You think you can fight me? You don't even understand how deep this goes. Everything is in my name. The accounts, the deeds, everything. You're already erased, Rhiannon." He turned and walked out, his lawyer close behind. The sound of his footsteps echoed long after he was gone. I sank in a chair, trembling, but now, finally, I had proof. The nurse touched my shoulder gently. "You okay, sweetheart?" I nodded. "I will be." When she left, I looked at Mom, still fragile but peaceful. "I'm going to fix this," I whispered. In the hallway, I opened my phone. The recording had caught every word. I sent it to my lawyer. He confessed. Moments later, his reply flashed. "That new will is likely forged." For the first time in months, I felt something shift. Power. The morning light crawled across my table, cold and gray. My lawyer called before sunrise. We had a plan. Freeze assets, file injunctions, expose every thread of abuse. I signed the forms with shaking hands, each stroke a quiet rebellion. At the hospital, I ran into Jared, calm, polished, poisonous. "You've made a mistake," he said. I handed him the envelope. "No," I told him. "You did." Hours later, a nurse called. "Your mother's been transferred. Private elder facility." "What? Who authorized that?" "Your brother. He's her legal guardian now." My knees buckled. He hadn't just taken her money. He'd taken her voice. That night, I turned my living room into a war room. Screenshots, recordings, documents. I faced the cameras and said, "This isn't family drama. This is elder abuse." Then I played his rant, showed Mom's frail face. Silence followed, heavy, electric. By noon, #Justice for Lorraine was everywhere. People came forward, screenshots, statements, truth. I wasn't just fighting for Mom anymore. I was fighting for everyone he'd silenced. When I got home, I saw it. Red paint on my door, dripping like blood. Traitor. I snapped a photo, uploaded it to my evidence drive, and called the local news. You want to see what happens next? I said. By morning, I uploaded everything. Forged wills, recordings, medical files to every agency and outlet within 100 miles. When the story broke, it went viral. Daughter exposes elder abuse. Brother under investigation. Then came an email from someone I hadn't heard from in years. Harlan, our family lawyer. You shouldn't have gone public, he whispered across from me. Too late. You helped him, didn't you? He confessed. Jared forged the will, coerced our parents, and forced him to notarize under threat. I recorded everything. That night, I posted his video. You wanted silence. Here's your megaphone. By dawn, Jared's name was everywhere. Talk shows, headlines, outrage. 2 days later, he tried to fight back. A defamation suit. The hearing was short. My lawyer played the confession. The judge ruled for investigation. Elder fraud, coercion, will manipulation. That night, I slept briefly until a call woke me. Your mother wants to speak with you. Her face flickered onto the screen, pale but smiling. I knew you'd come back. Tears filled my eyes. You're my mother. That never changed. When we said goodbye, her voice sounded lighter, almost free. The next morning, I found an envelope on my floor. This isn't over. His handwriting. Cold, sharp, familiar. I folded it away, locked my door twice, and stared at the mirror. The same eyes as my mother's, but harder now. At court, reporters swarmed the steps. Inside, testimony flowed. The lawyer's confession, the proof of neglect, the faces of those he hurt. And then, finally, Mom's image appeared on screen. For the first time in years, she spoke for herself. The video feed flickered, but Mom's eyes were steady. I didn't sign that will, she said softly. He told me not to trust my own daughter. Gasps filled the courtroom. I wanted to run to her, but I stayed still. This was her truth. When the judge turned to me, I said only, I just wanted them safe. Hours later, the verdict came guilty on all counts. Coercion, forgery, emotional abuse. 1 year of psychiatric supervision, 500 hours of community service, and the end of his inheritance. Jareth didn't react. As the bailiff took him away, he turned and whispered, You think this ends here? 2 days later, I visited Mom. She looked smaller, her hands frail, but her eyes still carried warmth. I failed you, she said, voice trembling. I believed him. I shook my head. You didn't fail anyone. You survived. She smiled faintly. You always cared. I kissed her forehead. Rest now, Mom. 3 days later, a letter arrived. His handwriting, sharp and deliberate. You've won for now, but family isn't justice, it's war. I didn't finish reading. I took it outside, struck a match, and watched it turn to ash beneath the Arizona sun. The fallout came fast. News channels replayed the trial. My inbox filled with messages from strangers, victims, advocates, people who said my story gave them courage. One email stood out. A nonprofit offered me a role in elder abuse advocacy. For the first time, I felt something close to purpose. That weekend, I drove to the old house. The windows were dark, the air still heavy with old echoes. I packed a few things, Mom's rosary, a few photos, the original will, and sat for a long time, remembering the laughter, the fights, and everything in between. When I signed the papers to sell it, I whispered, You broke me, but now you'll help rebuild others. The proceeds went straight to an elder protection fund. A month later, I moved to Tucson. Small apartment, sunlight pouring through the window, and a rescue dog named Chance who followed me everywhere. I worked part-time helping victims tell their stories. Some nights, I still woke to old memories, the shouting, the fear, but I'd whisper, It's over. You're safe now. One night, I set up my camera. To the daughters told to be quiet, I said. To the sons told silence is strength. To anyone who was ever called too much, you were never too much. You were never too small. That night, I dreamed of the basement. Only this time it was filled with sunlight. Mom and Dad smiled, whole again. My younger self stood beside me, wide-eyed. "You're safe now," I whispered. She nodded. "No, I didn't get revenge. I got something better, truth, peace, and the power to finally keep my voice. Because sometimes justice isn't about punishment. It's about being heard." If this story resonated with you or reminded you of your own family story, share your thoughts in the comments and don't forget to subscribe.